Genesis.
Hey, what's up? It's Genesis, and today I want to explore frequency shifters and using them with vocoders for sound design. Alright, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, if you've messed around with a frequency shifter before, it can be kind of tricky to understand like what it does or how it affects your sound, because it's kind of chaotic in a sense. Like, for example, we have this synth patch that I've made. Generic pad synth kind of thing. And let's see if we apply a frequency shifter to it. I don't have a sustain pedal, so I'll probably just quickly whip up a MIDI track here and record. So we have this pad synth already, and if we mess around with the frequency shifter, it can get pretty messy really quickly. Especially if you mess around with this coarse knob. And you can fine tune it, of course. But without a doubt, you can still get some really cool like overtones and like textures with a frequency shifter. But with some of these things I want to show you, it'll be better if we go for a simpler signal like a sine wave right here. Just to show some findings that I've come across when experimenting with frequency shifters recently. Let's say we have a C note right here, and this sine wave is playing at around about, I think it's 130 Hertz, which is a C. And with a frequency shifter, you can move this C around, create some overtones and undertones here. There are ways that you can transpose this C note to different, let's say, intervals or harmonics of C. The principle is that you take your note, you take the frequency of it, which is 130 Hertz in this case, and by typing in any multiple of that frequency, you can get different octaves, fifths, fourths, different harmonic intervals that way. So let me show you. We have this this note at 130 Hertz, and if we add 130 Hertz to the fine or coarse knob, we can essentially put the C note up an octave. And if we add another 130 on top of that, which will be 260 in total, that'll give us, I think, a fifth? Yeah. And that will also give us an undertone of the fundamental right here. Further beyond that, you can get other notes in the harmonic series, I think. So if you add another 130 on top of that, so that'll be 390 Hertz added in total. That should be the next note in the harmonic series, which is another octave above. So like 2 octaves above the fundamental. There you go. With a subharmonic of the previous octave. You keep on adding up there. Let's say the next one is 520, I think. You've got a major third. Let's go even further than that. 650. There's another octave. Plus another 130, so that'll be 780. I think that's a fourth there. And if this is just one clean sine wave signal, you can apply this to other, like, more richer harmonics. So let's say we have like this with a few more harmonics involved. We can do the same thing, so 130, 260, 390, 520. This one doesn't have much of a drastic effect because of this the sound design of this synth already has a few harmonics that line up with that harmonic series, so it's not going to have that much of an effect. But if you get something more interesting like this, let's say something like this and put it down an octave, so we go more into the bass range. So something like this, and then we apply the octave on the frequency shifter again. We get some cool harmonics here like this. And if you blend it in with the original signal, oh, nice and dark. So that's the original signal. Here's the frequency shifter signal. And here's both of them together. This is like a really cool technique to get like uniform harmonics, because if you don't do it mathematically, let's say we just pick like a random spot here, like 174, you get some really dissonant overtones that go on top of your synth. So let's go back to 520, I think. That one's really cool. 650. Yeah. Let's go back to 390. That was the coolest one. And you can mess around with the synth behind it as well. Oh, that one's nice. So that's the original signal here, with that added. Oh yeah, that's crazy. And then if we go for something like this, give it some pitch envelope as well. Maybe distort it a little bit. Let's go to 390 again. When you shift up your synth, the fundamental can get blaringly loud up to the frequency you put it at. So if you want to use the frequency shifter as a layering thing, what you can do is make a dry-wet kind of effect track like this. And with this, the wet signal, what you can do is you can apply an EQ on it to tame those quote-unquote fundamentals. Let's say we'll just use let's just use the low cut to get rid of it completely. And then we get these overtones here. And let's use a band reject to just get that. Or maybe do the low cut here actually, before the frequency shifter. Whoa. Reset that. There we go. So that's the original signal. And that's with the wet. We get some grittiness over there. That's cool. Ooh. Ooh, that's a nice like squarey kind of sound. Yeah. And I feel like it's also time to introduce the vocoder to this mix. The vocoder is also a messy thing to get into when using sound design for it. Like what I usually use Vocoder for is to clean up messy signals. So this one's pretty messy, and I want to kind of clean it up, like some of the high-end harmonics and the way some harmonics ring out. You can use the Vocoder to shape those harmonics, just like that. And with the Vocoder, I like to usually like put the lowest frequency of the range a little bit higher, like above the sub, so it's not affecting the sub at all and only the upper harmonics. And then putting that to another dry wet chain, so you can mix in both the vocoded signal and the clean signal that has the sub in. That is, if you're keeping the sub of the synth. You get cool stuff like this. And then you can change the way the vocoder behaves. To get some interesting like overtone tails and stuff like that. You can also change the bandwidth of each little band, because the way the vocoder works is that you have either 4 to 40 bands, and these bands react to the incoming signal, merge it in some way, depending on the algorithm, like merge it with, let's say, noise. So it's taking the amplitude of the lowest, second lowest, third, and fourth band. It's taking those amplitudes and then applying the amplitude of the incoming signal of those bands to the carrier signal, which in this case can be noise. It can be another synth, which is how you can make color bass or other cool sound design tricks, or you can apply it to itself. And that's how I usually get a cleaner sound. And you can change the bandwidth of these individual bands to get more of a crystalline sound, or like a metallic sound. And this can add some interesting harmonics to your sound as well. And you can change the formants, which is really cool. Boost it up a little bit. Woo! And then let's mess around with the multipliers of this frequency shifter again. Let's go back to, what was it, 520? Oh yeah, that's crazy. It almost sounds like it's phasing a little bit, but I kind of like that. For Ableton users, you can kind of curve the overall volume of each band, and you can use it like an EQ of some sorts. Okay. That's crazy. And let's say we want to like distort it a little bit as well, like the overall signal. Maybe we can add a disperser. If you want this disperser rack, you can get it for free on my website, link in the description below. This disperser rack doesn't use any external plugins. So if you're an Ableton user and you don't have disperser, or just want to have something that's like an alternative to it, you can go ahead and get this rack, as well as the A version of this rack as well. If you want it, it's in the description below. Woo! It's a crazy sounding bass, and I know it's mono. Let's make it stereo right now. That's a crazy sounding bass right there. And also, don't forget, you don't always have to sound design in a linear fashion. Like, you don't always have to like start with a synth, add an effect, and keep going forwards. You can always go back to your other effects and synth parameters to get some more interesting sounds. I guess I'll do for this sound. Anyways, that's kind of what I wanted to get at today, and I have made an example idea of how this can be used in a little 2-bar trench tune over here. This is the synth I'm using. It's a very simple one with operator as well. It's just using FM of another sine wave at a multiple of 8 to get just a few of these harmonics. And we have a frequency shifter, split rack again, you know, you got the wet signal. And this, the frequency here is, I believe, a multiplier of the fundamental, which is E, and in this case that's 40 Hertz. This is a multiplier of 6 for 40, so you know, 40 times 6 is 240, so we get these overtones here. And without it, this is what it sounds like. So adding this 240 adds a few more harmonics up here and onwards. Anything below 1K for the frequency shifter. So I add a bit of a signal delay by like 1 millisecond just to avoid that phasing a little bit. And it becomes more prominent if I add this additional oscillator here. So without that signal delay, you can hear it like phasing a little bit, like a bubbly sound. By adding this signal delay, you can kind of get rid of that bubbly phasing kind of sound. And of course, you don't always have to just leave it at that, because this is what it sounds like without the EQ. You can add an EQ to tame that frequency shifted sound and get only some harmonics you like. So in this case, I only wanted the upper harmonics, so like anything above like 400 Hertz. I also added some vocoder as well, just like what I did earlier. And I have a note to myself saying to automate the formants, because you can get some crazy stuff like that. Actually, you know what, I'll do this now. I'll just duplicate. So something like that. And I have 2 distortions here, 2 saturators to get it nice and crunchy. And I also have a rhythm delay. Just to give it some ghost notes. I'll clean it up a little bit. If you want to see how this and the signal delay works, you can check out my previous sound design video. That'll also be linked in the description and on the top right of the screen right now. And I have a washout rack, just to give it some space. And you can also get this washout rack for free on my website, link again in the description below. So putting those techniques to context, I made a quick drop here. Got some very simple drums. This clap has way too many layers, but it works. It's kind of like a blocks kind of drum pattern here. And here it is, pretty much. This is an okay idea. Of course, I just whipped this really quickly for this video. If you'd like some of these sounds from that bass, as well as from this little synth here, I'll render those out for my Patreon. You can take a look at that in the description below. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like and sub to buff my algorithm RNG. Leave a comment if you have something to say, and maybe share it to someone you'd think would find this useful. You can further support me by checking out all the links in the description below. This includes my official website, my Discord, Patreon, and other social medias. Once again, thanks a lot for watching, and stay creative. See you in a bit.
This is the Genesis.